Hi, my name is Chris Kosakowski, and I'm an educator and advocate with Vera House's campus project team. And today I'm going to be talking about understanding the issues by looking at definitions, statistics, and the impact of dating violence, domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. Vera House is Syracuse's comprehensive domestic and sexual violence agency, providing counseling, legal assistance, advocacy, shelter, and education to the community. My job is to work with the 9 college campuses in Syracuse to talk about relationship violence, sexual assault, healthy relationships, and consent, as well as to provide direct support for college students who may have experienced these issues and help them navigate systems like Title IX or the criminal justice system. In this video, we'll be talking about definitions, statistics, and impact in order to raise awareness, to help you understand and remember the pervasiveness of domestic violence, sexual violence, and stalking. So let's start by defining the issues. First, we'll look at dating and domestic violence. In these types of abusive situations, there are patterns of assaultive and controlling behaviors that an individual uses against another in order to gain or maintain power and control in the relationship. This can include a wide range of verbal, emotional, and physical behaviors. The two terms, dating and domestic violence, have a lot of overlap, and typically the only difference between the two is the context in which the relationship exists. Dating violence may exist in relationships that are a little more casual, where domestic violence may exist in relationships that are longer term. At the end of the day, both can include the same behaviors or tactics of abuse. Next, we have sexual assault. This can include a wide range of physical or verbal actions that include any sexual act perpetrated against another person without their permission. All types of sexual violence include a lack of consent, an inability for a person to give consent, or any tactics that are used to coerce, force, or manipulate a person into giving consent. Finally, we have stalking, which is a pattern of harassing behavior directed at a specific person that would cause a reasonable person to experience fear. This often includes behaviors such as following a person, showing up unannounced, or utilizing technology to harass someone. It is important to remember that all forms of violence, no matter the behavior, are rooted in power and control. The belief that one person is entitled to a greater sense of power over someone else, and utilizing whatever behaviors and tactics to control that person's actions to maintain power over them. Now let's look at some statistics in order to help put into context how frequently these things happen. In about 30% of dating relationships, some form of abuse is present. When we look at dating violence, we tend to think of this as a woman's issue, and disproportionately women are affected by this more. However, we also know that men can equally be as impacted by violence, and abuse in LGBTQ relationships can happen at the same frequency. In the case of sexual violence, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men experience sexual violence at some point in their lifetime. In these cases, 75% of the time, the individual knows the perpetrator. Because the individual often knows the perpetrator, this can lead to someone not reporting this or not getting the help that they may need. When it comes to stalking, 1 in 6 women will experience this and 1 in 19 men. At times, it can be easy to look at these numbers and not see the human beings behind them. But when you consider that for most people, they have either personally experienced this, grow up in a home seeing this, or have someone that they love or care about who is going through something like this, it helps to recognize just how frequently this occurs and just how much this impacts people. So let's talk about what that impact is. On the individual level, there can be a lot of different ways that this can impact someone. There can be a lot of long-term and short-term ways that this shows up. Physical and mental health and well-being are often affected by issues of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking. Depression, anxiety, hypervigilance are a few of the issues that might occur, as well as a decreased connection to others and a lack of trust in relationships. It's important to acknowledge that the experience of abuse is a traumatic experience, and the symptoms of trauma can impact a person in a number of ways. It can impact a person's ability to function in school, work, life, relationships, etc. Beyond the individual, this also impacts our community. It reflects how we treat each other, how we show respect, and what behaviors we allow to exist and allow to be tolerated. So, knowing all this information, what can we do about it? Well, I think it's time to make a change, and it starts with us. We need to shift our culture and stop normalizing violence. Instead of ignoring the problem and not talking about it or dealing with it, think of ways that you can intervene when you notice something is wrong. Consider the ways that you can raise awareness of the issues in the lives of people around you. When you notice a problematic comment, joke, or action, lean in to challenge the thinking around it. Look at the circles around you and create space for open and honest dialogue about these issues. And find ways to act as a leader and inspire others to do so as well. By finding ways to act as an empowered bystander, we can begin making changes towards a world free of violence and abuse. Thanks for listening. For more information, questions, or to utilize our new chat feature, feel free to check out our website at www.verahouse.org or call our 24-hour confidential and anonymous crisis support line at 315-468-3260 for help and assistance. Thanks.